Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Craving Crypto podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Bitcoin ETF rejections and going into a market overview. So let's get right into this. Okay, so we're going to start off with talking about the ETF. Coindesk.com, SEC rejects 9 Bitcoin ETF proposals, talking about ProShares, Dextron 5, and other ETFs that were proposed. They're all rejected and denied, so this was basically everybody's worst nightmare in the crypto space. Everybody was super worried about these ETFs getting rejected. And this kind of goes to show as to why I don't trade news personally. I mean, if you really think about it, this ETF is kind of a distraction that was created by the news and the media to make everybody believe that the ETF has to do with whether the price is going to go up or not. And although an ETF, I personally do agree, would increase the amount of money coming into the cryptocurrency space and allow for institutional money to come in quicker, I don't personally think that it's a make or break it deal for the price of Bitcoin. So if we want to think about like how the market's actually reacting to this news, that's really what's important. So if the market holds this support and we don't get selling action from the ETF rejection news, that's actually a really bullish sign for the market overall, because if a market doesn't fall on news that would normally be perceived as bearish, then that shows that there's strength in the market. So, you know, if we go over to CoinMarketCap to look at this big dump that's happening, oh wait, nothing's dumping. Yeah, this is actually because the market is reacting pretty well to the Bitcoin ETF rejection in the news here. And you know, again, like I said, I think that there's a short squeeze that's happening right now, and that should really shake out a lot of sellers in the market. And then also just the fact that trading based purely on news can often wreck you. And I think that whoever making this whole ETF thing such a big deal, whether it's CNBC or whatever news companies are making it such a big deal, really have probably designed it to, you know, really adjust your psychology on the market so that you think that this is highly associated with whether an ETF is going to get approved or not. And so that every time one doesn't get approved, you sell more and more and more until there's no more selling pressure left. And then 9 get rejected and the price is still pumping off support levels. Right now, actually, we're pumping quite a bit. So if we can get above this resistance level at 6,800, I would be really, really bullish here for Bitcoin and really the rest of the market. And doing a little bit into the market overview today, if we're clicking on the total market cap right now, which is $210 billion, we're not going to go over the exact price and volume of the top 5 coins, just because I figured you guys can read that if you just want to pause and look at it, and there's really no point in me blabbing off the numbers over and over. Somebody commented about it in the last video, so I'm like, you know what, that's actually a good point. There's no reason for me to really be naming all of those numbers off. So total market cap is looking really good right now. We are bouncing up a little bit, so we have to be able to get above this resistance level, and we really want to see 191 hold as support. That would be a really, really good sign for the crypto space, as if this 199 holds as support, 191 I mean. We can get above 225 billion, that'll make a higher high, and when we make a higher high in the total market cap, that will be a breakout and signify that an uptrend is forming in the total market cap, and I suspect that that would have a lot of money and volume flooding into the markets if that happens. So we're still on for a short squeeze currently. I still think that the price is likely to bounce up from this point rather than go lower. although I do have my stop loss set. I'm not going to give exact prices because it's VIP content, but just understand that, you know, I'm using my risk management right now, always trying to be smart, and I have a stop loss in place in case this market doesn't hold where it's at right now. But, you know, overall things are looking good. Clicking on total or the CoinMarketCap actual website, most things are green right now, up 2%, 5%, 10%, 17%. Lisk is really breaking out hard right now. Nano has been moving hard anytime that we've been seeing green movement, and it's looking pretty good right now. Bitcoin Diamond is up 36% currently. That leads us to the next part of the podcast, which Cormac Taylor asks what my thoughts on Bitcoin Private are. So we're just going to go ahead and look what Bitcoin Private is on CoinMarketCap. And then I'm going to zoom in here and look at the 24-hour volume. So the 24-hour volume is in the hundreds of thousands, which is okay for 24-hour volume. You know, you could see better, but it's really not bad. As far as like the 7-day price action, we've seen overall selling off since its top at $4.77. In the 1 month, we see a larger downtrend as well. So if we can really get above this $4.44 level, then that would be a higher high and signify an uptrend for Bitcoin Private, which would be pretty bullish, at least on the short term. But this really doesn't have a ton of price data, not much history to do technical analysis on. And so with this one specifically, if you want to take positions on it, you could take really, really high risk, low percentage positions, maybe put 1% of your portfolio maximum in this, or just accumulate the tiniest amounts just because you don't have that much price data or price action. And so the smartest move would just be to play it safe. You only really have data since March of this year. And although this low volatility right here is starting to get lower and lower volatility, it does usually mean that some volatility will come back into the market, and that could be bullish or bearish. So this could produce some trade setups down the road right here until we actually get more price painting on this chart. It's really not worth playing unless you're just taking some low risk positions. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin Private. I hope that answers your question. So yeah, here's the link for the Bitcoin ETF. Again, I just think kind of like how a magic trick in a magic show, somebody diverts you with making you look in the other direction. And that's kind of what they're doing with the ETF right now, is to just divert your attention to something else when you should just be learning how to do technical analysis and predict the markets based on support and resistance. So I'm not really taking the ETF rejection too seriously. That's my thoughts on that. I know that in the thumbnail I did this crazy face that looked like I was scared, but you know, that's just because the ETF has been talked about a lot, so I was just making an interesting thumbnail. Overall, the price of Bitcoin looks good right now, and these support levels are super strong. So as long as they can hold, and as long as we can see some bullish action coming back in, and that short squeeze to continue to happen, then it wouldn't surprise me if we start to make some higher lows in this market. But again, you want to have your stop losses set. So if you don't know how to set your stop losses, you can either look that up, or I have some YouTube videos on it in my channel, or you could look at the VIP program to get the exact price that we have our stop losses set there. There's links in the document in the description right here. If you like what I'm doing, you can go ahead and donate Bitcoin to this address. Coinigy sign up right here if you want to do charting on altcoins, and then the BitMEX sign up if you want to do trading with leverage on Bitcoin, but I do not recommend that if you are new to this. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the box below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next episode. As always, stay profitable out there.